time for movies on rock and roll football. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marrick and Jawa.
Meet me in the foyer.
So, where you want to go, buddy? To the foyer, you say? No problem. And here, we are grateful that you chose to meet me in the foyer once again, where this week we'll make you scream with delight at the offerings we bring you from the picture houses. And this week, I promise, it's all good family fun. No X-rated movies here. And joining us in our spiritual and cinematic journey this week, giving testaments to all the delightful and charming, but don't make her Ang Lee, it's Linda Marrick. How are you doing, Linda?
Oh, good. Thank you so much for that introduction. Very good.
Welcome.
Very good. How are you?
Very good. Yes. Pretty
Yeah.
good, actually. Can't believe it's only Tuesday because I'm absolutely shattered. But other than that,
Same. Yeah,
very
me
good.
too. Actually, I can't believe it's Tuesday. Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? You had a good weekend, I trust?
Yeah, quite busy weekend with BAFTA and working on sort of getting all the information out there and all the footage, and yeah, really good. I actually wanted to take a minute to talk about something that happened at BAFTA that's been talked about, and I think I'm going to do that afterwards because let's do if you want to do the top 10, and then I'd like to just say a few things about what happened during BAFTA at
Absolutely.
one particular point of the awards.
Certainly. Perhaps at the end of the news, because I've got a
Yeah.
little space set aside there. Lovely. And before we get to that, what are you going to be reviewing for us this week?
I will be reviewing The Testament of Anne Lee, which is a movie that I absolutely loved. That it's a really weird little movie that if you don't get it, you're never going to get it. But I really loved it. I saw it absolutely ages ago, and I completely felt like I understood it, and I think it's the kind of movie that you're either going to love or hate. And my second film will be completely the other way around. Scream 7, I think, is self-explanatory. I don't need to tell you more about it, and we'll see whether I liked it or not. I literally just saw it today, this afternoon.
Ooh, okay, hot foot from the screening room. Fantastic. And plus, of course, I will bring you another classic to consider, the latest movie news. But enough of the preamble. The meat is running and it's time to testify. Scream if you want to go faster, as now it's time for the box office top 10.
Meet me in the foyer.
And in the box office top 10, as it stands as we record, first off, turns out I was wrong. Stitchhead didn't maintain its place in the top 10 thanks to half term, but others did. And at number 10, it's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, on its first week on release, reviewed by Linda on last week's show.
Top 10. I thought we would do a bit better than that.
As did I. I've had some very snotty reviews from other critics. Not that I give much credence to other critics, of course, but surprising. But I'm still looking forward to seeing it myself.
Oh well.
At number 9, The Monument, on its first week on release. That's Charlie XCX's mockumentary film that's made $324,000 at the box office. Above that, at number 8, it's Waste Man, also on its first week on release, the prison drama from Cal McMahon, starring David Johnson and Tom Blythe.
I love David Johnson. I'll watch him in anything. Tom Blythe is also very good, but David Johnson, my favourite.
Absolutely amazing, brilliant actor. Yeah, I totally agree. Above that, at number 7, it's Send Help, on its second week on release, the Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien film that Linda enjoyed and I did too.
Is that not the third week?
No.
Or maybe this week it's his third week.
That's right, yeah. And I have to correct myself from last week. It wasn't my fault entirely. My sources told me that it had made 16 million at the box office. It has in fact made 3.8. So
I see.
A slight readjustment there, but still not bad at all. Above that, at number 6, Cold Storage, also on its first week on release, has made 400,000 at the box office. That's a horror comedy from Johnny Campbell, starring Georgina Campbell, Joe Keery, Sosie Bacon, Vanessa Redgrave, Leslie Manville, and Liam Neeson. One heavily trailered before everything I've seen at the cinema this year.
Yeah, great movie, really fun.
Oh, cool, lovely. Might check it out then. Number 5, reviewed by Linda on last week's show, it's Secret Agent on its first week on release.
Wow, I'm so surprised it's doing that well because, it's a Brazilian movie in a Portuguese language, and I genuinely didn't think people had it in them. And it's actually the distributor took a chance on releasing it, and I think it's 140 cinemas around the country, and it paid off apparently. So yeah, that's good.
Really? Yeah. Fair play to it. Number 4 has moved up 2 places from last week. This one has had a push from half term. It's Zootropolis 2. It's 13 weeks now in the chart and has made £35 million. Wonderful stuff. And this week the top 3 remains unchanged, which means at number 3 it's Crime 101 on its second week on release. That's just made, I don't mean just made, but has now made £3 million. And you can hear Linda's review from a previous show. I think it was 2 weeks ago we reviewed that.
Love that movie. Really love that movie. Fabulous.
Yes. I was very upset I didn't get to see it on Saturday. That was the plan, but the plans don't always work out. So I'll try and catch it this week.
Okay, well, don't forget to catch it before it gets...
Absolutely. Although I did also, I was going through the films I hadn't caught in from 2025 over the weekend, and the list is terrifyingly long. So I've got lots of homework to do. Number 2, so it remains Goat on its second week on release. That has also surely received a half-term push because it's made 10.5 million.
Good. I'm very pleased.
Oh, good.
Yeah. No, I am pleased because it's a studio film. It's Sony. It's been released by Sony, and Sony really needed a win with that and with an animation. So I think it's really great that it's making money.
Fantastic. Which of course means remaining at number 1, it's Wuthering Heights on its second week of release. That has made 16 million. That's Emerald Fennell's period romantic drama starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. And you can hear Linda review that on our show 2 weeks ago.
What should you do, Heathcliff? If you were rich?
Suppose I'd do what all rich men do. Live in a big house. And be cruel to my servants. Take a wife.
A wife? What wife?
Heathcliff, you're not enough. Not for her.
Mr. Lind asked me to marry him.
Heathcliff is gone. You must accept it.
Why did you leave me?
Why did you betray your own heart?
Where is the obstacle?
Here. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same.
I will not stand for that fiend. I will not have you near her. Did you think it would stop me? So kiss me and let us both be damned.
So that's the box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, so it's review time, and Linda is here to testify on the new work by Mona Fastvold, Will she do it in song? Maybe. Will she do it to This Old House? Perhaps. Will she pronounce Amanda Seyfried's name correctly or incorrectly, like Amanda does? Well, we debated this a couple of weeks ago where I tried out Seyfried, Linda rocked Seyfried, but according to Amanda, it's Seyfried. However, she admits her sister goes with Seyfried, so we're all wrong.
I'm going to go
Regardless,
Seyfried. I'm going to go Seyfried. That's what I'm going to do.
regardless, here's Linda with her movie review of The Testament of Anne Lee, a musical about the Shakers, who, if you don't know, were a collective of Shakin' Stevens fans. So looking forward to heading out my green door to the local cinema for this one.
Having been eye and ear witnesses.
For those new here, who are unaccustomed to a woman preacher,
All that our mother has done.
come nearer to me.
Christ's spirit first appeared as a man, but has reappeared to fulfill the promise of the second coming as a woman, our Mother Anne.
I have seen a chosen people waiting for us in America. We will plant a great big tree with deep and solid roots.
I hunger and thirst. I hunger
We are so few, yet we have lost so many.
after true righteousness.
You will go out and make our presence known.
An ocean I see without
Anne Lee's religion is the spirit of witchcraft.
I cannot preach without being harassed.
cry unto God, never cease to
Wartime is coming.
Legend has it, there appeared a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. Anne Lee.
Linda?
Very good, very good. So, as you say, today I'm talking about a movie that is, in no exaggeration, it is probably unlike anything you've ever seen before. It is, as you said, it's called Testament of Anne Lee. It's directed by Mona Fastvold, and it asks some really bold questions about just by being itself, just by existing, just by having been made. And we are at a moment where having the ambition to make movies like this really counts as heroism, in my opinion, because if you gave this as an elevator pitch to anyone in Hollywood, they will just look at you and go, "Goodbye, see you later. This makes absolutely no sense." And it's been in the sort of the festival circuit and it's had some mixed reviews here and there, but I feel all the people whose opinions I really respect have agreed with me. I think this is genuinely one of the most ambitious, most original screenplays made this year. And when people are complaining, and it's again another female filmmaker, and when people are complaining that we no longer make movies that are different, show them this movie. So it is both a musical and a biopic about Anne Lee, and so it's basically the story about an 18th century religious leader, a female leader. Actually, she was possibly one of the only women of her time, or even before, to create a new branch of Christianity. I mean, she's still, it was, the Shakers were still Christians, but they had their own sort of thinking. So the film tells the story of Anne Lee, the real life founder of the Shakers. She was born in 1736 in Manchester, England, and into a working class family. And the film opens with Anne as a child, she works at a mill, like the rest of her family. She's a dutiful, deeply religious, working. Actually, I want to say there's more. It's not a mill. Sorry, it's a loom. It's like cotton. They make clothes with cotton. And she's already even as a child, she's already a very serious person. She's already carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She grows up in this sort of overcrowded household where with more than a dozen children, and she makes connection early with her mother's endless pregnancies, and she knows that her mother is almost is being forced to have all of these children because her father doesn't really care. I mean, they've got hardly any money to keep everyone afloat, but she watching the suffering of her mother, the endless pregnancies, and the sort of the filth and squalor they're living in, it's enough to put her off sex for the rest of her life. And she becomes someone who is very pious from the very early age, and she considers sex as something not unholy. So as an adult, she marries Abraham, who's played by Christopher Abbott. I love Christopher Abbott. Again, he's absolutely fantastic in this. Both Amanda Seyfried, who plays Anne Lee, and Christopher Abbott do brilliant English accents and Northern English accents. Absolutely incredible and faultless. Amanda Seyfried is just incredible here. So he. At first, she's okay with the sort of intimacy with him, but then things get a little bit more complicated because she wants children, and she allows him to sort of, have sex with her because she's happy she wants to have children, but then she gets pregnant 4 times and loses 4 babies, and she basically becomes embittered and angry at the world. So she falls into a radical religious group called the Shaking Quakers. So the Quakers, but they're like when you go to the South in America, where you get like some churches where people are starting to speak in tongue, and the tongues they're shaking and they're like worshiping in a very sort of visceral way. So that's where it started. So her spiritual fervor basically gets her into trouble with the local church, and she is basically considered a bit of a witch, and she's in and out of prison. She's seeing things, and she believes that she has this kind of message that she must convey to her friends and family and anyone who would listen. But because she's been persecuted, her and her group of believers decide to leave for the New World, and they find themselves in New York, in outside of New York, basically. I think actually don't actually remember exactly where, but so they get on this boat with these guys and with these sort of people who think they're all weird, but in the end they manage to sort of stay alive all the way when I get to New York. And they are, again, Annie's getting stronger, her views are getting stronger and stronger, and she decides that she wants to take her message to America to convert more and more people. And it's here actually we start realizing that the movie is not just a straightforward movie; it's also a musical. There's some incredible music here. Instead of traditional Broadway style numbers, there are songs that feel really out. So it's almost like modernist song and dance, like very arty, very artistic. So the songs are written by Daniel Bloomberg and inspired by real life shaker rhythms and hymns. The choreography is created by Celia Rollins Hall, and it's just so beautifully done. It just reminds me like of all of those sort of late 80s dancing troupes from Canada and from like that would tour the world, and that were really considered as like something really unusual and new. So slowly in the film, slowly Anne becomes the center of it all. Her face is intense, and then her brother is played by Louis Pillman, who is really good in this. I mean, it's probably best that I let you discover really what this is all about. I don't know if you are at all familiar with the Shakers, and they're known for making furniture. I think I would have liked to see more of that side of it, because nowadays there are only three surviving members of the Shakers.
No
The
way.
ethos of the whole religion is to not procreate, is to not have sex, is to stay untouched, and to devote your life to God without, but they consider intimacy as being unclean or ungodly, and that's probably why there's only three of them left now. So yeah, I really, really, really love this. I feel a bit sad that this has been more or less ignored by most of the awards, because people just didn't know what to do with it. It's a very odd movie, and and I don't say that as a bad thing. It's odd in a really good way. It's original. It's beautiful. It's just the cadence of the music, the message behind it is just so. I mean, at times Anne Lee does seem like a bit too harsh on her congregation, but at the same time, she is someone who is clearly suffering from, uh, you know, sexual trauma from an early age, and sort of like being brought up in a world where a woman is only validated by her ability to have children or her ability to satisfy her husband. And she said no to all of that. And because she said no to all of that, she was seen as a witch or witchy. I mean, I just really loved this movie. You know, I couldn't tell you why precisely I loved it, but I think I really love odd movies. I love films that have a subject that, you know, broach subjects that aren't everyday subjects, movies that feel a bit otherworldly, and that's exactly how this feels. I Genuinely, this is one of my favorite movies of the year. I am just terribly sad that this was completely ignored, and yeah, they completely ignored by the awards, and it is a bit of a shame. But yeah, go and see it. It's You will be confused by it, but in a good way.
Excellent. Sounds very intriguing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does seem like the awards ceremonies are becoming increasingly confused by musicals as much as they have been by comedies over the years, and now they just
yeah,
because it's the Golden
I
Globes,
think,
isn't it, that have that musical and comedy section because they're just like
yeah.
those films.
I mean, I think it's doing it disservice calling it a musical. I feel like I've
Mm.
said a musical, but I want, for me, the musical performances almost feel like different scenes, and they're more
Yeah.
acted scenes. So I think maybe it's not a straightforward musical. It's more important than that. It's more, I feel like there isn't a single word in this movie that's superfluous, you know, it's
Yeah.
just everything matters. Every single word uttered by anyone matters, and that's including the songs. Yeah, just go and see it. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just go and see it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Wonderful. It's funny, actually. I heard an interview today with Mona Fastvold,
Yeah.
and she said that as she was creating it, she didn't think it was a musical, and then her partner said, "That's a musical.
Good.
It is," and she was like, "Oh yeah, maybe it is," but she kind of thinks of it as an opera,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like it sounds like a sort of English opera style thing, as you describe it, sort of modernist. Uh,
And also, like, I feel like musicals get a bad rap anyway. And I know I still to this day know critics that will not review musicals because they hate musicals. They don't get it. I am a huge musical fan and have been since I was a child. And I think ev the cinema as it is now was created by musicals, was created.
mm,
Hollywood was built on musicals. and to kind of like dismiss them as being sort of unimportant is actually quite upsetting to me. Yeah, anyway, they're a really good movie. Go and see it. I have nothing else to say really, and performances, the performances are just out of this world.
And of course, there's a musical just over your shoulder, right there on our new background walls this week. Yeah, it's interesting. The only other thing that struck me was that it's certainly not a complaint, and we have no right to complain given how many American roles have been stolen by British actors over the last few years. It does seem odd that the lead is American, and there are a few other Americans in the cast. As I say, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it just struck me as odd that this English.
I see no issue with that, because if you are able, like as you said, so many English actors go to America and they do really good American accents, and that's how they get these roles. I feel like the three main actors in here, Amanda Seyfried, Louis Pullman, and Christopher Abbott, are all incredible actors who have done English accents before, and they do them really well. And Seyfried is so good. In Mancunian accent is just top. I think an actor is an actor. It doesn't really matter where you're from. If you're able to say the words, if you're able to deliver the goods, who cares where you're from,
Really well said. And funnily enough, I heard Amanda talking today as well, and she said that the accent was the hardest bit for her, but she's nailed it. She's
very good. Yeah,
it's a boss accent, as they would say. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Linda. That's your first review this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, it's movie news time. And first off, we have a trailer for the Jason Segel and Samara Weaving starring dark comedy from Jorma Taccone, Over Your Dead Body, due out in cinemas on the 24th of April. That's US cinemas, I should say, but hopefully in the UK shortly after.
Hey, how is it?
It's fine.
I just wanted to cook you your favorite food.
Steak's not my favorite food.
Okay. And what is your favorite food?
Ceviche.
Ceviche? You know what? I'm trying to make it nice for you.
Reasons! Just pretend!
Don't do this. Please don't do this.
Wakey, wakey.
What's going on?
Not much. Having a cup of tea and curious about these. I think you were gonna knock me unconscious, tie me to the bag of rocks you hid the boat, sink me to the bottom of the lake. I think you just tried to kill me.
Because all you do is criticize me in your stupid accent. It's like British crossed with the devil.
Well, your plan sucks.
Your plan is to just shoot me? I was being nice about it. You would have been unconscious.
Oh, okay.
Because I am considerate.
Oh my God!
Lisa, stop
it! In a relationship, the key is finding ways to keep things fresh.
Cops are never gonna buy your bullshit. They're gonna see somebody just pretending to care.
Like you can do any better.
She should have been back by now.
What's up?
Can you please do something? Can you please help? She's not just gone.
Oh my God, there's so much blood!
Heaven has another angel.
Don't walk into the light!
Come down from heaven and save her!
Isn't ready for you!
God. Oh God, she was so beautiful in life!
Talk of the unmade Hunt for Ben Solo's Star Wars side movie continues, with director Steven Soderbergh going on the record that he felt certain the film was going to go ahead when he attended a meeting with a Disney CEO. Soderbergh said, "I thought the conversation was going to be strictly a practical one, where they go, what's this going to cost? But it never got to that point. It's insane. We're all very disappointed." So is the cancelled project appearing in the press so much as Soderbergh and Driver hope to resurrect it with fan support? Maybe. With new leadership at Disney and Lucasfilm, perhaps this film, just like Ben Solo, isn't quite as dead as we thought. We have a trailer for Pixar Foundation Stone Toy Story returning from the toy box for their 5th adventure on the 19th of June.
Do you, Forky, to Kira and Beverly to be your beloved bride?
Yeehaw! I now pronounce you husband and knife. Oh, poison the maid of honor!
Bonnie, there's a package for you. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play.
Oh, extinction! Not again!
Bonnie, screen time's over now.
Okay. I want to talk to you, device.
Please, call me Lily.
Me and the toys have been working all summer to try and get Bonnie to make friends.
Yeah.
But then you had to ruin it. You're not even listening to me.
I'm always listening. See?
Now look here. Me and the toys have been working all summer.
Now in Spanish.
What?
Yeah, I got dibs on behind the dresser.
Jesse, hello?
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
We're down! Tex invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jesse. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I'm losing Bonnie to this device.
You got a friend in me.
Woody!
Came here as fast as I could.
Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
It's called a poncho, Forky.
Oh! Someone needs a brown marker.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
It's been too long, cowboy.
What are you, some sort of old man toy?
What?
She thinks you're old because you're bald, Woody.
Bonnie needs help from someone at least from the same century. So long, toys.
We're gonna need backup.
No way. She's getting away, boss!
Our mission on this planet is to make a child happy.
Bonnie still needs us. Come on, Bullseye!
Buzz, you stay here. I'm going with them.
You don't think I can do it?
No!
Nice poncho.
It's good to see them fighting again.
It sure is.
And from one Tom Hanks starring movie to another, as Mr. Hanks moves from Toy Town Sheriff to Mr. President of a United States, as he is set to play Abraham Lincoln in a live-action stop-motion hybrid from director Duke Johnson, with George Saunders adapting his own novel. Filming is set to begin in London soon. We have a trailer for a new Anthony Maras movie, Pressure, starring Andrew Scott and Brendan Fraser, which has a cinematic D-Day of May 29th.
The final decision on the timing of D-Day will be mine, and mine alone.
Call General Eisenhower.
Tiger was a training op, dress rehearsal for D-Day. They walked right into it. One mistake. Just that one mistake.
Ike, you have to stop doing this to yourself. What's done is done. Group Captain Dr. James Stagg, here at the express request of General Eisenhower.
Do we have a date yet for the invasion zone?
D-Day is in 61 hours from now. This is the largest seaborne invasion in history. Fate of the war, thousands of lives hinge on this. I need a forecast. Churchill tells me you're the best meteorologist in the country.
Get me the latest readings from every single base within 2,000 miles of Normandy. The invasion's confirmed for Monday. Monday.
Oh, they won't like this.
We are faced with a succession of 2 aggressive storms.
Are you absolutely certain?
D-Day will be calm and sunny. I couldn't disagree with that more.
If D-Day is cancelled, we will lose this war.
The final decision on the timing of D-Day will be mine, and mine alone.
If you invade tomorrow, they're going to be washed away.
300,000 men with families that they may never see again. Why should I trust you?
We must face the facts! The facts, however frightening they may be!
If we delay,
The enemy will be ready and waiting. They'll slaughter every single last one of us.
storms that I'm talking about are real, and the wrath of nature is real.
But the big news of the week was last weekend's BAFTAs, attended by the one and only Linda Merrick. K-pop Demon Hunters performed. Marty Supreme and Timothy Chalamet walked home empty-handed despite 11 nominations. One battle after another's Sean Penn and Sinners Wunmi Mosaka were first-time winners in the supporting actor and actress categories. As Linda and I discussed, Frankenstein, Avatar, Farinash and F1 took home awards for the costume, production design and effects categories. The night belonged to one battle after another, which picked up Best Film, the previously mentioned supporting actor, adapted screenplay, editing, cinematography and director for Paul Thomas Anderson. Sinners picked up original screenplay and original score, as we suggested it would, whilst animated film went to Zootropolis 2, hardly surprisingly. Film not in an English language went to Sentimental Value, and Hamnet picked up the award for Outstanding British Film, and also saw Jessie Buckley awarded Best Leading Actress in the award most likely with the shortest odds of all. The big surprise of the night, other than Paddington turning up to present an award, was I Swear scooping 3 awards. One for casting, another for Robert Aramayo in the EE Rising Star category, very similar to his award at the Critics Circle. But most surprising and perhaps the most brilliant moment of the entire evening was Aramayo returning to the stage to lift Best Leading Actor ahead of Timothy Chalamet, Ethan Hawke, Michael B. Jordan, Jesse Plemons, and Leonardo DiCaprio. Wonderful.
Very well deserved. Yeah, very well deserved. Yeah.
But yes, over to Linda.
Yeah, I wanted, I don't know, you probably heard, there's a lot of discourse going on at the moment about a couple of things that happened during BAFTA, the BBC broadcast. And obviously, Robert Aramayo starring in I Swear, a story about a man suffering from Tourette syndrome who manages to sort of have a normal life despite everything. And it's a very touching, gorgeous movie that I think I have reviewed on the show. And
yes, I believe you did. Yes.
Yeah, just I love Robert Aramayo. I think he's an incredible actor. So the person whose story was told in I Swear was also present at the awards, and during the awards, when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage, a profanity or sort of a racial swear was directed to them, and it was coming from John Davidson, who is the person whose life is told in I Swear. Now, to understand the sort of the how that might have happened is because John is a Tourette sufferer. You cannot help but blurt out things. That's how Tourette manifests itself. And in the movie itself, actually, at the beginning, the first few minutes of the movie, you get there's a ceremony about to happen, and the character played by Robert Aramayo, John, is about to be handed a prestigious prize by the then Queen of the United Kingdom, Queen Elizabeth II. And as he walks in to receive his prize, he blurts out one of the worst thing you could possibly tell the Queen, a word that I cannot repeat here. And it's just the most awful situation, and he absolutely hates himself for having done it. But that is the whole point of having Tourette's. It's almost like a reflex. It's what happens. Tourette's is basically when your brain is short-circuiting out of anxiety, and I totally understand that he would have been. So at the same time, I completely understand that Michael B. Jordan and Daryl Lindo did not deserve to be spoken to like that. And I can see both sides of the point. And I'm sure the two of them completely understood that this was not deliberate, that someone like John Davidson, who is a Tourette sufferer, couldn't help saying that. Now, the BBC, where the BBC went wrong was that they didn't censor that shout and left them open to criticism. The other thing was another winner during the night was censored for saying Free Palestine. Now, if you're going to censor someone for saying Free Palestine, why not remove the racist words that were blurted out by John Davidson? I think it's very unfortunate that that happened, but I'm seeing some really weird takes out there, and it's not. He's not a racist. He's someone who suffers from. I think the way you would be able to understand that whole situation is by going to see the movie. If you saw the movie, you will understand straight away what that's happened. It is very unfortunate that it happened, and it's also unfortunate that the BBC put themselves in that position by not censoring it. It's either good for everyone. It's either it's all okay or it's all bad. It's either okay for everyone not to be censored or okay for everyone to be censored.
Yes.
Take make a decision. This whole situation could have been made so much more acceptable by people if BBC hadn't fucked up in so majorly. So I have nothing else to add. The reason I'm quite passionate about this subject, as a person of color, I'm not black, but I'm a person of color. But I am also someone who suffers a mild version of Tourette's. Mine is tics. I have loads of tics, and probably people who've been watching the show for a very long time will probably notice that. And it's very minute and it's not on the level of John himself, but it's not something that you can help, and it's something that develops through anxiety, and some people are born with it. And I like not to explain what Tourette's is, and you can go and do your own research. I just wanted to broach that because I feel like this was handled very badly by the BBC, and it's being taken completely out of context by commenters online, and I just wanted to explain what Tourette's is. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say really on the subject. It's a very thorny subject, and it's quite upsetting to see John being painted as a racist or pretending as if he had any choice. And you don't get a choice, when you suffer from Tourette's. It's not something that you can help. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with us, Linda. I think that was very well said. It is incredibly difficult because I was sat there at the time thinking, it's a live situation, and you can't. It's dangerous. Someone with Tourette's is bound to have a moment during that setting, but you can't say, well, you can't come. Then that would be ridiculous. So you just have to accept it. But there should have been an explanation at the start. And Alan Cummings, and not to blame him, of course, he was put in that position, but he was sort of forced to make an apology midway through the show, which felt like he was almost singling out the person. And it just felt awful, and it's a terrible situation, and people have said some terrible things online, as you say, and it would really have been better saying nothing at all. And my only comment would be, I've never thought much of Jamie Foxx, and I think even less of him now that I've read his comments that have been shared after the event, which was just
Jamie Foxx has always been a big mouth idiot, and I have zero respect for him, honestly. I mean, like Michael B. Jordan hasn't said anything, and he's an intelligent man, and someone who has probably knows what the thing is. And it's just such a sad position, really. And John should not have to apologize for his illness. Nobody should have to apologize for his illness. As I said, as a person of color, I completely understand your you're someone who's in one of the most popular movies of the year, standing up there about to give out a prize, and or or sort of to be celebrated by your peers, and you're being shouted down and called names, but it's not what it's about. That's not what it is. And like, if anything, if anyone wanted to really showcase what the movie I Swear is about, that you couldn't dream of a better position, really. I just encourage everyone to go and see the movie if you haven't seen it yet. It's a movie that has really touched me, that I've championed from the beginning, and that I was very honored to hand Robert Aramayo his Critics Circle Award for best breakout actor. And I was, as I say, I was just so thrilled to hand it to him a few weeks ago. And he's just such a wonderful guy and deserves all of the accolades. I'm just sad that his thunder was pretty much stolen by this moment.
Absolutely, yeah. And on a personal note, it did give me a little bit of pleasure because having watched him in the Lord of the Rings TV series, I can't have been alone, but I immediately thought, wow, this guy's incredible. He's really, really great actor.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Linda. That was very, very good. So that's the news for this week, and we'll move on and go back to Linda for another review.
Meet me in the foyer.
In the least convincing plot premise possibly ever, Scream 7 claims Sidney Prescott, now living in Pine Grove, Indiana, is forced to face her past to end the killings of Ghostface once and for all. Well, if you believe that, you're possibly as slow-witted as the characters in these Scream movies who continue to have phone chats with anonymous callers, go down into unlit basements and leave a killer supposedly unconscious but definitely unrestrained movie after movie. Somehow this movie features David Arquette and Courteney Cox among its cast. How? I don't know. Will Linda reveal all? Probably not. But let's be honest, the bigger question is, who gave Courteney Cox that fringe in Scream 3, as that must be the biggest crime in all of these 7 movies. Anyway, time to get ironic and satirical about the slasher in the meta movie franchise that just won't die.
I'm gonna make everyone you love suffer, including your pretty daughter.
Don't you fucking dare!
This is gonna be fun.
Scream.
Creepy's kind of hot.
Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
Linda.
I must say, I'm a huge fan of the Scream franchise. Have been from day one. I just think the especially those early movies are just they've really got the genre, and it's sort of very self-reflexive and very sort of they're movies that take up the send off the genre, the horror genre in a really clever way, and I've always found them very fulfilling and funny and smartly written, well acted. I am really sorry to report that this is none of the above, unfortunately. It feels this is directed by Kevin Williamson, and the screenplay is by Guy Busick, and he's a story by James Vanderbilt, and it is also, again, the stars Neve Campbell, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, David Arquette, and Matthew Lillard. I love Matthew Lillard, and if you don't like Matthew Lillard, I do not want to be friends with you. I adored Matthew Lillard. I'll watch him in anything. It's also, I mean, he has quite a big part in this, one way or another. Courtney Cox is also back, and it's very weird that McKenna Grace, who is a great actress, a very popular actress, has a tiny role in this, which I found very bizarre. So make of it what you want. So yeah, this is again. Sydney Prescott has built a new life for herself in a quiet town of Pine Grove. She's away from New York. She's in Indiana until Ghostface Killer begins to target her daughter, Tatum. Tatum is played by Isabel May, and she was in the series Alexa and Katie. And then I've not seen her in many things, to be honest with you. I personally would have had McKenna Grace in that role, personally. It's just, I find it very bizarre that they go, and I think McKenna Grace is a fabulous actress. So I don't really need, I don't want to give too much away, really. It's all about a bit Scooby-Doo, and it's worked in the past. And I just found this very bizarrely paced and tonally a bit heavy, weird. That can't decide whether it wants to play it for laughs or if it wants to be a classic slasher. It is a full reboot, and it's trying to do to the Scream franchise what the Friday the 13th franchise has been doing over the last 30-40 years or whatever. And I just think you need stories that are better written. As I say, the pace in here, as soon as we get in, I mean, there's a really interesting and actually quite enjoyable first opening scene where a couple are going to visit the old I think the movies in the film itself are called the stab movies, not the Scream movies. So that they're like, yeah. So they are sort of basically based on true story of Sydney and all the stuff that's happened to her in the past 30 years ago. And I think the opening sequence is actually quite it's the same basically as the very first movie with oh God, what's her name?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. It's not super similar, but like you get it. You get it. Sort of that's an opening thing, and we think that it's all fun and games. And anyway, I'm not going to tell you too much about it because I would like you to discover it. There are some funny bits in it. There are some very silly things in it, and the kills are actually quite well executed, but there's something missing. There's something missing, and I think that the thing missing here is the actor from the movie before, Melissa Barbera, was supposed to be part of this movie as well, but I think I gather they've rewritten and decided to sort of completely reboot it just to keep Melissa from being in this movie, which is a bit sad, to be honest with you. I think Melissa Barbera is a fabulous actress and has been, Hollywood has tried to erase her because of her views on Palestine and a number of other things, which I find absolutely ridiculous. And I think and I'm not saying this because Melissa is not in the movie. I just think there is nothing about this movie that any of us really wanted. Okay, Courtney Cox is back, and we all love Courtney Cox, but we've seen this movie before. We've seen it done before, and it's all about legacy. It's all well and good having the legacy characters, but at the same time, I just feel like if you're going to do a proper reboot, do a proper reboot, or just don't bother at all. Again, as I say, tonally it's all over the place. It can't decide whether it wants to be this kind of like a teen slasher, or if it wants to sort of work around the older characters, and none of it works, unfortunately. There are some funny bits in it, some good performances, mostly, honestly, from people like, Neve Campbell is actually quite good, and mostly Matthew Lillard, who I'll watch in anything, as I said. David Arquette is very briefly in it. Yeah, that's it, really. I have nothing more to say. I wish I liked it more. I didn't. I didn't like it. It's not a terrible movie, but it's just a movie that's having a bit of a personality crisis, unfortunately. That's all I have to say. Yeah, go see it or don't. It's up to you. It's
Fair
up to
enough.
you.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I totally agree. The first two, they're absolute classics. They're, a proper step change in the horror movie business. And I really liked four, I have to say. I thought four was highly enjoyable. Three, I thought was detestable rubbish. And then since then, five and six, I didn't enjoy at all. I think the ironic meta jokes are tired. They're not saying anything new. They keep doing it in a sort of no, we get the joke type way, but they've become the franchises they mocked. And
Yeah, but
yeah,
Scream 6 was really good. And,
I thought it was
I
okay.
really like them. I did like those ones, but as I say, like, it's all been done before. And actually, no, it doesn't feel like any of the old movies. It's as if the creators or the writers have forgotten what those movies were about,
Yeah,
meant to be fun, meant to be so like it's as if halfway or towards the end of the movie they suddenly remembered that to be self-reflexive or to mention the horror genre. It's as if they suddenly thought, oh, we better put a bit of this in it. It all feels a bit flimsy and not completely well formed, in my opinion.
fair enough. And of course, stick with the classic reviews that I bring you, because later in the year I might be reviewing one of the Scream franchise films, which is celebrating its big anniversary. Yeah, 30th.
Yeah.
30th anniversary.
I feel like it's the 30th, I think.
So yeah.
And you have to tell me the day before, because I would like to watch it so that I could talk to you about it as well.
Fair
I'd like
enough.
to watch it again. I don't think I've seen it in a very, very long time. So.
No problem. That'll be coming at the end of the year, I think. And maybe see that and don't bother seeing Scream 7. Or do see Scream 7. The choice is yours. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Linda.
Meet me in the foyer.
Time now for another of Jawa's classic movie moments. And this week I'm flicking the meter on to take you on a scenic tour of 1970s New York, to take in a film celebrating its 50th anniversary. So hop in the cab. Apologies for the sticky seats. And yes, I'm talking to you about Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver.
Second call, 404 Hamilton, 41 7. 1 item 5. Alfano, 448.
De Niro. In Bang the Drum Slowly, the critics called him a brilliant new talent. After Mean Streets, they said he was a genius. For his performance in The Godfather Part 2, they gave him the Academy Award.
Come on, man. Just get me out of here, all right?
Now, Robert De Niro creates a terrifying portrait of life on the edge of madness.
Tabby, just forget about this. It's nothing.
Taxi Driver, a film by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, people do anything in front of a taxi driver. I mean, anything. People too cheap to rent a hotel room.
Oh, driver, hurry up, will you?
People want to embarrass you. It's like you're not even there. It's like, like a taxi driver doesn't even exist.
This city here is like an open sewer, It's full of filth and scum.
I think I know what you mean, Travis. But it's not going to be easy.
You guys get to be a Secret Service man. What? I was just curious, because I thought maybe I'd make a good one. Hey, what kind of guns do you guys carry? 38s, 45s, 357 Magnums, something bigger maybe? Hi, I'd like to volunteer.
Why?
Why? Because I think that you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
The taxi driver is looking for a target. Getting ready. Getting organized. Preparing himself for the only moment in his life that will ever mean anything.
How much for everything?
$350 for the Magnum, $250 for the 38, $1.25 for the 25, $150 for the 380.
That taxi driver's been staring at us.
You talking to me?
You talking to me?
I don't know who's weirder, you or me.
You talking to me? Well, who the hell else are you talking? Talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
I don't believe I've ever met anyone quite like you.
Oh, yeah?
You will never see a more chilling performance than this. Robert De Niro in Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver. Jodie Foster, Albert Brooks, Harvey Keitel, Leonard Harris, Peter Boyle, Cybill Shepherd. Taxi Driver.
Fabulous. One of my favorite movies. Good.
I thought as much. Right. So I've been working on this today, and I've tried to edit it down because otherwise I'll be keeping you here all night. But anyway, here's my, as brief as I can make it, talk about Taxi Driver, which is a 1976 American neo-noir psychological drama directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Paul Schrader. Set in a decaying New York City following the Vietnam War. It stars Robert De Niro as a veteran Marine and taxi driver, Travis Bickle, who takes a job as a night shift taxi driver to cope with his chronic insomnia and loneliness, frequently visiting adult movie theatres and keeping a diary in which he consciously attempts to include aphorisms such as, "You're only as healthy as you feel." He becomes disgusted with the crime and urban decay that he witnesses in the city and dreams about getting the scum off the streets. His mental state deteriorates as he works nights in the city. So, filming began in 1975 with actors taking pay cuts to ensure that the project could be completed on its low budget of just 1.9 million, which is 10 million in today's money. So that's about the same, I believe, as The Brutalist was made for. Theatrically, it was released on February 8th of 1976 and was a critical and commercial success despite generating controversy for both its violence in the film's climax and for the casting of a 12-year-old Jodie Foster as a child prostitute. The film received numerous accolades, including the Palme d'Or at the 76 Cannes Film Festival and 4 nominations at the 49th Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Actor for De Niro, and Best Supporting Actress for Foster. So as I say, it stars Robert De Niro as Travis Bickle, Jodie Foster as Iris Stensma, Cybill Shepherd as Betsy, Harvey Keitel as Matthew Sport Higgins, Leonard Harris as Senator Charles Palantine, and Peter Boyle as Wizard. And also, Martin Scorsese plays a dual cameo role. When I rewatched it this week, I was like, oh, there he is again. Because, yeah, he appears first standing in the background during Betsy's first appearance, and then later he appears as a slightly unhinged passenger in Travis's taxi who intends to murder his unfaithful wife for cheating on him. And also Diane Abbott, who would go on to be Robert De Niro's wife in real life, plays an adult movie theatre concession girl who rebuffs Travis's flirtatious advances. And she would also go on to appear with De Niro in Scorsese's New York, New York, and brilliantly in The King of Comedy. So Martin Scorsese stated that it was Brian De Palma who introduced him to Paul Schrader, and that Taxi Driver arose from Scorsese's feeling that movies are like dreams or drug-induced reveries. He attempted to evoke within the viewer the feeling of being in a limbo state between sleeping and waking. He took inspiration from Hitchcock's The Wrong Man and Jack Hazan's The Bigger Splash for the camera work in the movie, whilst Schrader, writing the script, took inspiration from the diaries of Arthur Bremer, who shot presidential candidate George Wallace in 1972, and for the ending of the story, in which Bickle becomes a media hero, he was inspired by Sarah Jane Moore's attempted assassination of President Gerald Ford, which resulted in her being on the cover of Newsweek. Schrader said that he decided to make Bickle a Vietnam vet because the national trauma of the war seemed to blend perfectly with Bickle's paranoid psychosis, making his experiences after the war more intense and threatening. And he also cited the Robert Bresson film Pickpocket as an influence. And it's one which I did study actually at uni because I did my dissertation on Vietnam films produced by Hollywood over the decades. And this one, although initially on surface level, it's not a Vietnam film, but then of course on watching you realize it really is commenting on sort of the effects and after effects it's had on society. Dustin Hoffman was offered the role of Travis Bickle, but turned it down because he thought that Scorsese was crazy. The man who's always mentioned in these casting lists, Al Pacino, was considered. Jason Miller, Jeff Bridges, was also considered for the role of Travis Bickle. Scorsese brought in film title designer Dan Perry to design a title sequence for Taxi Driver, which is stunning. It's gorgeous. It absolutely draws you in straight away. He wanted to use Perry for his earlier film, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, but Warner Bros. Said he couldn't use an unknown designer. But by the time he designed Taxi Driver, he had already established his reputation for his work on The Exorcist, which has a sort of similar smoky, misty opening. And he would then go on to work on other films such as Star Wars and Raging Bull. And yeah, so the film opens with big steam clouds coming up through the grids and manhole covers in New York, and a taxi moving through it in slow motion. You get a close up of De Niro's eyes in the mirror, and then everything sort of lit red, which of course is a color that is heavily used in Scorsese movies like Mean Streets and Goodfellas and Bringing Out the Dead, and tends to sort of signify violence and madness or antisocial behavior. And then you get these images through the windscreen, blurred images with lights coming from the neon lights of the buildings and street lights. And then Bernard Herrmann's score comes in with these sort of sinister notes and this driving drum pattern and this pulsing score. It's a fantastic start to the film. It really is. It was shot in New York during a summer heat wave and a sanitation strike, and ran into trouble with the MPAA because of the violence in the final shootout. And then Scorsese decided to he retinted the film basically to change the color of all the blood, and that gave him allowed him to avoid an R rating, which now strikes me as absolutely bizarre, because you watch it and you think, you're not watching it and thinking, oh, that blood's not blood colored, therefore this is fine. You're watching it thinking, good grief, this is incredibly violent and shocking, and brilliant. But quite how that made sense as sort of go, oh, okay, no worries, there's a pass, slightly baffles me. But anyway, so in the story, Bickle decides to assassinate Senator Palantine, and at that point he gets his hair cut from his completely normal hair he's had throughout the film to this iconic shaved head with a mohawk. And that detail was apparently suggested by actor Victor Magnotta, who plays one of the security guards at the political rally. He said that he had served in Vietnam, and he said in Saigon, if you saw a guy with his head shaved, like a little mohawk, that usually meant that those people were ready to go into a certain special forces situation, and you didn't go anywhere near them. They were ready to kill. So another lovely detail added to it, giving it sort of depth. Because I'd always been slightly baffled as to why he goes for the buzz cut, the mohawk, and now it just makes total sense. As I say, it was filmed in New York City, on the West Side, at a time when the city was on the brink of bankruptcy. And according to producer Michael Phillips, the whole West Side was bombed out. There were really row after row of condemned buildings, and that's what we used to build our sets. We didn't know we were documenting what looked like the dying gasp of New York City, a city that was revitalized in the 90s, and has become a sort of much safer place. But then many people have actually malign that and say it's not as sort of as exciting as it was. But I think probably improved for the better. But as I said, Bernard Herrmann scored the film. He had previously worked with Brian De Palma on Obsession, and Scorsese had always wanted to work for him because, of course, Scorsese is a big Hitchcock fan. It was his final score before his death on the 24th of December 1975, just hours after he completed recording the soundtrack. I don't know if Herrmann knew it was going to be his last score, but if he did, he went out on absolute high, because I think it's possibly his greatest score ever, which for a guy who's scored so many Hitchcock films and other films, that's quite the bar that he's sailed over. And of course, and it has other music used in it, and in a classic Scorsese fashion, he'll shoot like a horrific, brutal murder, and then immediately slam cut into this sort of beautiful ballad. And it's sort of the juxtaposition is so shocking. It just works because he's, as I've said on previous episodes, he's the king of the needle drop, whatever anyone says. As I said, the casting of Foster was highly controversial because she was 12 when she was cast, and I think she was 13, 14 when they shot. But she was, she was sort of taken through the film step by step by Scorsese, so that although people were critical of her being in that final scene with the big shootout and the death and the gore, it's not real. It's a film set, and when you're there, you're very much aware it's a film set. And she was made aware and shown it all. She was also given psychological testing to make sure she wouldn't be traumatized by it. Although she did say that Scorsese wasn't particularly comfortable directing her and didn't know how to direct her differently to the adult actors. And it was Robert De Niro who sort of did a lot of direction to her and became a sort of role model to her for her career in a lot of ways. The film became more controversial because it apparently inspired John Hinckley Jr. in his attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan in '81. And it was actually used as part of Hinckley's trial, where his defense attorney played the film saying, look, he's just taken this film and so he's not and he was actually found innocent and on an insanity charge, and that actually led to Scorsese considering quitting making films, but fortunately he didn't. The film was booed at Cannes for its graphic violence, and as I say, Scorsese has to rework it to avoid an R rating. Roger Ebert has said that in regards to the ending, he said, we see newspaper clippings about Travis's heroism saving Iris, and then Betsy gets into his cab and seems to give him admiration instead of her earlier disgust. Is this a fantasy scene? Did Travis survive the shootout? Are we experiencing his dying thoughts? Can the sequence be accepted as literally true? I'm not sure there can be an answer to these questions. The end sequence plays like music, not drama. It completes the story on an emotional, not a literal level. We end not on carnage, but on redemption, which is the goal of so many of Scorsese's characters. They despise themselves, they live in sin, they occupy mean streets, but they want to be forgiven and admired. And Scorsese acknowledged that interpretation, and said that he admits the last scene of Bickle glancing at an unseen object implies that Bickle will fall into rage and recklessness in the future, and he's like a ticking time bomb. While Schrader said it's not a dream sequence, but he does envision it as returning to the beginning of the film, and you could actually edit the end of the film back to the beginning and it would just loop round in this sort of cycle of madness and violence, which I think is a fascinating. I'd love to see a fan edit of that. That would be incredible. The performances of De Niro and Foster got huge critical praise, quite rightly, earning them Academy Award nominations. Whilst they didn't win those, Foster did win Best Actress in a Supporting Role and Most Promising Newcomer at the BAFTAs, so she's technically the Robert Aramayo of her day. The film lost out on the Best Picture Oscar to Rocky, which also depicts the working class blue-collar 70s America. It's considered a classic, but for me, it's not on the same level as Taxi Driver. However, removing Rocky doesn't automatically give Taxi Driver the win, because it was nominated in the same year as Bound for Glory, Network, and All the President's Men. So I mean, that's a tough competition. Yeah, absolutely. As we've said, it received huge acclaim. Roger Ebert absolutely loved it, said it was one of the greatest films ever made. Pauline Kael, unusually, was on the same page and also agreed it's one of the greatest films ever made, saying it's more feverish than Mean Streets. No film has ever dramatized urban indifference so powerfully. It has a slightly low, I think, 89% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but has had other more positive effects. It inspired Meryl Streep to become an actress. She said at that time she had no idea of becoming an actress at all, but seeing De Niro in Taxi Driver had a profound effect on her, and she said, that's the kind of actor I want to be. In 1994, Robert Carlyle based his Albie Kinsella character in Cracker on Travis Bickle, and again, that's another incredible performance. And in the 2012 film Seven Psychopaths, psychotic Los Angeles actor Billy Bickle, Sam Rockwell, believes himself to be the illegitimate son of Travis Bickle. And Todd Phillips also took inspiration from Taxi Driver for the Joker, I think, which is fairly obvious. Plus King of Comedy, both of those films, he's basically just sort of filtered through into his own script. There has been discussion of a sequel or a remake by De Niro and Scorsese. De Niro multiple times has said he'd be interested in doing a remake or a sequel, but Schrader has completely poo-pooed those ideas every time. So Bickle is a sort of scruffy, tired-looking but incredibly young-looking Robert De Niro. He's seemingly comes from a sort of low education background. He's had an honorable discharge from the Marines, served in Vietnam. So as I said before, one of the key elements of the film is dealing with the impact and after effects of Vietnam. He comes across as quite simple, naive. He's disgusted by the world around him with pimps and whores and drug dealers, but he still frequents those places. He goes to the brothels, he goes to the sex cinemas, although he doesn't sleep with prostitutes, and he doesn't seem to get turned on at the cinemas. So it's really intriguing as to why he keeps going back. That's the sort of his mental state is the really intriguing bit in it, and it's just because he's such a nice guy at the start, and he just got sort of declines awfully. It's cool. It's been called noir by some, and it does feature voiceover. And deals with the seamy side of life, as I said, sex workers, drug takers, and a society in financial and emotional and spiritual collapse. It's complex, it's extremely dark, it doesn't explain, but it illustrates. It's life in a part of town that cinema doesn't often visit. And the final shootout, one of the most controversial parts of the film, is stunningly shot and edited. It uses multiple speeds, which seem to emphasize the graphic, gruesome, dirty, determinedly unsexy and real nature of violence. And you know, the conclusion, as Scorsese had intended, making a film that says movies are like dreams or drug-induced reveries, he attempted to invoke that within the viewer, the feeling of being in limbo, as I said. And I think this film does that, because you often think, is this happening? Is this real? And that conclusion really left me thinking, is this a dream sequence? Has this really happened? Are these sort of the thoughts of Bickle's brain as he's dying? I don't know. But if you haven't seen Taxi Driver, I'm not going to pretend it's an easy or comfortable watch. It's been many years since I first watched it in my teens in film class at college. But having rewatched it older and perhaps wiser, but definitely more worldly wise, it's undeniably a masterpiece of writing. The dialogue is incredible. Think of all those lines that have just gone into the lexicon. The directing sublime from Scorsese. The cinematography is stunning. Shots, the lighting, the camera movement, such as what Scorsese says is the key shot in the film as the camera tracks away from Bickle to an empty corridor, because what he's saying on the telephone at that moment is just too uncomfortable to watch. That's Michael Chapman's cinematography. The acting from De Niro is mesmerizing, and Foster is otherworldly. It's almost impossible to believe she's only 13 or 14 when she's making this. Cybill Shepherd has never been better. It's a simply must-see film for all cinephiles. And there's Taxi Driver.
Very good.
Another of your favorites, Linda?
I absolutely, I do. I love Taxi Driver. I'm a huge fan of Robert De Niro. I think he's the greatest actor of all generations, not just of his generation. I still believe that he is the GOAT, the greatest that has ever done it. And he remains one of the people I'd love to interview that I haven't interviewed, and I'm just really sad about that. But yeah, just love that movie. And I love Scorsese. I think nobody. Schrader's, he's writing. He is evidently a screenwriter who writes about men and the life of men. He's very much a right-wing, presence in Hollywood, and he has in later life turned out to be a bit of a shit. And his opinions on a number of things, on how we see things, You know, he's basically a boomer, really. I mean, so, you know, I'm not gonna, that doesn't take away from the fact that he is a fantastic filmmaker and a fantastic writer. And Scorsese, I've said everything I need to say about Scorsese. Is my favorite director of all time and will be my favorite director of all time. Yeah, I could watch that film over and over and over again, and I must have seen it about 100 times, if not more.
Yeah, no, it's fabulous work, and totally agree. Schrader's work, just his work, unbelievable, you know, incredible quality. I'm not sure I could rewatch Taxi Driver again and again and again. It is a brilliant film, but as I say, it's not one that I think, yeah, but a Taxi Driver tonight. But that's not a judgment of its quality.
I think I got super obsessed with it when I was about, like, you know, early teenage, because it was the very first sort of 18 movie that I sneakily watched
Right.
At a friend's house, I think, and it felt like something dangerous, and it felt like something really important in cinema that I hadn't been allowed to see, you know. Just love that movie. Yeah, fabulous.
Very fair. Very good points. Well, here we are, pal. What do you mean the meter seems a little fast? Yep. Maybe there was a more direct route, but I didn't think you wanted to miss anything. Don't worry. If you can't pay, we can work something out. If you can pay though, why not subscribe to our Patreon where you can hear all our shows in an extended director's cut form, listen to all our reviews in isolation, and catch our special Patreon shows as well. What a deal. But that's the end of this week's episode of Meet Me in the Foyer. Until next time, let us all thank Linda for her brilliant reviews and testimonials. Thank you very much, Linda. Excellent stuff.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, no,
and
always welcome.
Yeah, please admire our new backgrounds of our favorite movies all together. Yeah, so.
Oh, and follow our new Instagram account as well.
Follow us on Instagram. I was just about to say that. Follow us on Instagram. Yes, please do.
Meet me in the foyer on Instagram. So yeah, follow that, and all our new stuff will be going up there. But yeah, that's it. Until next time, take care out there, and goodbye.
Bye.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/rockandrollfootball and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and Roll Football. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet me in the foyer.
I forgot to get a drink.
No worries. It's crucial.
Oh, that's disgusting. That's horrible.
What is it?
Rio Light. It was
I
on a special price.
okay. I love
disgusting.
Rio. I don't drink
Do
Rio
you?
Light. Oh, I love Rio. Yeah, but not Rio Light though. Is it the purple one? The
Yeah,
tropical?
it is. Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah, I love that stuff. I could drink that all day long.
Sponsor us, Rio.
Yes.
Even
One
though
of
I've
us-
just said it's disgusting.
One of us likes you. I'll have a crate of free Rio.